Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great day, a great start to your week, and we're always thrilled to have you on with us this live, and for those folks, of course, listening later to podcast. Okay, Mike and Brahim. I don't know how you guys do it, but you're always near the top. And Wendy from Wasaga, good morning. Andrea, Niagara Falls. Mary from Norwich. And let me see here. April, good morning to you. Betty Lynn, nice to have you. From Brentford, Nativity. And Rita. And Victoria, good morning. We appreciate it. Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota, and Sandra from Aurelia. Jeanette, how you doing? Nancy, sunny Iowa. Jean, Peterborough. Elaine, good morning from St. John's, Newfoundland. Sharon from Niagara Falls, New York. Karen, good morning. Keith, good morning. Jeanette, how are you? Nicole, good to have you on. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Madeleine. Okay. Good morning. Wendy from Markham. Kevin. Just waiting a moment or two here. And Marianne. Janice. And Rain Cloud from Michigan. And Donna from Park Hill. Good morning. Linda, St. Jude, Quebec. And, it's raining in Portland, Oregon. Wanda. Linda, New Brunswick. Lise, good morning. And Vera, Newfoundland. And Milika. Jean from South River. Hello. How are you? Linda, Uppsala. And Clinton, sunshine in Wyoming. Annette. Fran from Tilsonburg. Sandy from Vancouver, Washington. Francis from Vaughan. Barbara. Okay, couple of more, guys. Diane from Thunder Bay. Sue, good morning. And Nellie. We appreciate you. Margie, Kansas. And Tina, good morning to you. And John from Lefroy, Evangeline. And Dave. And Karen from Kincardine. And there's Doc McEwen. I wanted to say hi. How are you? Carol, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Bruno and Cheryl, good morning. Okay, Kathy from Simcoe. Guys, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming on. We're going to finish all these questions this morning that I didn't get to on Friday. So let's call this question and answer Monday. Okay. Now, Maria is asking, she's carrying a lot of weight on her stomach. Okay. That's one clue. That's one clue. I have a hard time losing any weight. That's another clue. Many bloating foods and medications, sensitivity, brain fog, chronic fatigue. I like to know what will help me. Well, Maria, let me tell you this. Just from that little detail you've given me, I can pretty well tell you that you are in a metabolic storm, category 5. Okay, you got hormones and you're messed up big time. Now, that doesn't mean there's no help. There's certainly help. But a couple of things. One, you got to look at this holistically, okay? If, there's a couple of things that can give you belly fat. One of them is if you're a carboholic, especially a sugarholic, belly fat. But in women, a lot of times it is hormones, cortisol, the stress hormone. Maria, I can guarantee it that your cortisol is through the roof. That robs your progesterone. When you rob progesterone, your estrogen becomes dominant. You're too much of a woman and you can't lose weight because it slows your thyroid to a crawl. Yep. Slows the thyroid to the crawl. I guarantee, Maria, I guarantee it, that you have insulin resistance too. That means you and carbs don't get along. So if you had come to my office when I was in practice, I would have had a pretty well a 3 or 4-fold treatment program for you. Okay? I always started that treatment program with a foundation. If you don't start with food, you're not going to win. You have to start with food. I would have put you on the reset, a 30-day program to lower your insulin resistance, lower all your inflammation markers, empty your liver. I almost guarantee you have fatty liver. And then we would balance out those hormones, lower cortisol, stimulate the thyroid gland, even if your numbers are within normal limits. These are the things, Maria, we would do, okay? And if you want, send in at info@martinclinic.com and we'll give you that protocol for you, okay? Specifically and in writing. Okay, Paul. I'm asking for a friend who recently read an article about omega-3 fatty acid or fish oil could cause AFib or stroke. Ooh. Well, we did answer this, Paul. We actually sent out an email on the study, and we called it fake news, okay, on fish oil. Look, these are observational studies, Paul, and what they do is, what did you eat last week? How many grams of protein did you eat? How much fish did you eat? Did you ever take fish oil or whatever? And then they put it in a blender and they come up with headlines. It's the poorest way to do studies. Okay, because somebody's asking me this. Wait a minute. John, Dr. Martin speaks about new studies. What makes him so confident that these new studies are accurate? Well, if they're about coffee, I don't care. I'm only positive. My wife says I'm very selective about coffee. I won't read anything negative. No, John, kidding aside, okay? Kidding aside. Look, you look at the method of the studies. What did they do? Was it double blind? Was it placebo included? Was it peer reviewed? Lots of things I look for to see if they are worth looking at. I get several studies every day. Some I dismiss. Like if I read a negative thing on omega-3, show me how you came to that. And I'll tell you what, John, and I'll tell, hold on here. Paul, John and Paul, okay? Now, here's what I tell you, okay? Because I always put up you have to understand, I look at studies through my prism of 50 years of experience, clinical experience. So I look at studies with that prism. And, I'm not biased. I'm open. I want to read. I read constantly. Study constantly. But there are some things that I know from my clinical experience, what works and what doesn't. Okay? And I try and educate my audience based on my experience. So that experience comes into play big time when I look at studies. Not that I will dismiss a study without looking at it, but sometimes, like when they get really negative about vitamin D, I know better. I know where it's coming from. When they get negative about DHA, I know better. I've seen the results. And so that's what I mean, okay? That's what I mean. So I never dismiss a study without looking at it. I'll look at it. You can show it to me. Send it to me. If you think I haven't read it, usually I've read it. I have an ability to look at, think, in almost every study that gets published. Okay? But I'll give you my take on it, and I appreciate you guys asking me that. Okay. Bruce, when I go walking in cold weather, I get red blotches and on the legs and arm. What causes this? Well, you're weird, Bruce. No, Bruce, you're all right. Just teasing. They're capillaries. That's what does it. It's micro circulation. Maybe a little bit of autoimmune. Possible. I like Navitol. I would try that. Navitol is so good for circulation because of nitric oxide. Elevates nitric oxide. Anything with capillaries, I always use Navitol. Okay, Sherry is asking me, what does doctor recommend for coronary artery disease? Well, all of the above, okay? I work on, in coronary artery disease, start again with the foundation of food, okay? It's not cholesterol. It's the absence of cholesterol. Trying to get the cholesterol down and eating a carb-rich diet. That is not good. And when people don't emphasize in their diet the animal protein, animal fat, they're more susceptible to coronary artery disease. Think of the liver and attached to the heart. What? The liver attached to the heart. Because when you get a gummed up liver, when you get a fatty liver and it's getting full of fat because you're a carboholic and a sugarholic, the liver sends those that fat, tries to empty it through triglycerides. And triglycerides are fat balls that go through your bloodstream and create havoc, especially if you don't have enough cholesterol, HDL. There's a factor. When you're a sugarholic, sugar destroys blood vessels. It creates inflammation inside the body. It's silent. You don't know it's happening, but that's one of the ways that your body starts a plaque in the coronary arteries. A lack of lubrication. That's why, again, these fish oil studies are the ones that are negative, are silly, because fish oil, especially a high DHA oil, will lubricate your blood vessels. Sugar destroys the little lining, the Teflon lining of your blood vessels, leading to your heart, thus coronary artery disease. Inflammation is not the cause, because inflammation is not Houdini. What causes inflammation is insulin resistance. Sugar destroys blood vessels. Ask a diabetic. They know that. Their eyes, their kidneys, their heart. Why are think about this for a minute. Why are diabetics 50% more likely to die of heart disease? Why? Always ask the question. If heart disease is much more prevalent in diabetics, why is that? Is it cholesterol? It's not cholesterol. What has cholesterol got to do with diabetes? It's sugar. Sugar is toxic. Your body knows that. Your body knows that more than medicine knows that. Sugar is toxic. That's why your body is dedicated to taking sugar out of your blood vessels. It's dedicated to it. Very, very important. Okay? Now that's just a general overview. Okay. Okay. Brenda, what causes tennis elbow? Well, usually repetition. You can start it by just banging your elbow. But tennis elbow is, it's a gripping thing usually. Okay. And a lot of people, that's why tennis players, they were gripping their racket and repetition. And eventually, they get inflammation in their tennis elbow. Our inflammation formula is coming back to a theater near you, and maybe we can make an announcement about it this week. I'm hoping. Ooh. Yeah, inflammation formula. I like curcumin. I love Navitol. I love high DHA, but that inflammation formula, Brenda. Lori, is it good to take meds or shots for osteoporosis? Well, look, okay? I'm not big on it. There's a lot of side effects to the meds and that. I can't tell a person not to take medication. I won't do it. But here's what I would do, okay? Osteoporosis, and we have a question here about osteopenia too. Yes, Suzanne, you're asking about osteopenia. Osteopenia is the start. It's the first step in osteoporosis. All I can tell you, Lori and Suzanne, get strong. The best thing you can do is vitamin E. But not walk. And look, you can walk, you can do that. But I can't emphasize this enough. Muscle is one of the best things you can do for your endocrine system. Why? It's an endocrine organ. You heard it here first. Because of what it does for insulin. Your muscles are bins. Beautiful. What a difference they make when it comes to insulin and insulin resistance, okay? Now set that aside for a minute. That's what muscle does for the endocrine system. But here's what muscle does for your bones. Your bones are anchors. And muscle, when you attach that muscle, and the stronger it is, the bone has to rebuild itself, the stronger you are. It causes your bone to get stronger when your muscles are stronger. And I've been preaching this for years and years and years for women. They don't even realize it. they're going around with sarcopenia. What does that mean? No muscle. Listen, I was with, on the weekend, okay? You never seen so many old men in your life. Okay? 50-year reunion. Okay? 50 years ago I graduated with my DC, and then, I went on afterwards and got two PhDs. Okay? And some of those people, I felt like, well, I like hugging people, okay? But then you can tell they got no muscle. And when you have no muscle, your bones are going to deteriorate. When you have no muscle, you're going to develop insulin resistance. When you have no muscle, folks, this is why I talk about sun, steak, and steel. And I don't care how old you are, 80 years old, you can build muscle at 80 years old, and that will help your bones. Nothing like it. Now, I'm big on vitamin D, of course, with K2. K2 is the key, not calcium. Eat calcium. Eggs, meat, and cheese give you lots of calcium. And you want that calcium to get to your bones, not in a supplement, but with vitamin K2. K2 is the traffic cop. Calcium, come here. I don't want you in the bloodstream. You don't belong in the bloodstream. You come with me. I'm going to put you in bone where you belong. And your teeth. Okay? Bones need calcium, but they don't need a supplement of calcium. You need vitamin K2. That's why God, when you eat cheese, you have calcium with K2. When you eat butter, you have calcium with K2. You eat a steak, you have calcium with K2. K2 is found in the animal kingdom. Why do I talk about that all the time? Because it's nature's perfect foods. The vegetable kingdom, K1. That's all right. But K2 is in the animal kingdom. How can you avoid the animal kingdom? You can't. If you do, it's at your own peril. This is why I talk the way I talk. You need muscle to make strong bones. You need calcium to make strong bones, but not in a supplement. You need to take vitamin D. Get in the sun. One of the biggest factors as we age, people are scared skinny of the sun. How silly is that? When the sun will give you vitamin D. And how silly is it when people avoid eating eggs, meat, and cheese? It's silly. It's not right. Seniors never get enough protein. You need protein for your bones. Osteopenia or osteoporosis. Okay? Okay. Thanks for the questions. Much appreciated. Lori, and that was Lori and Suzanne. Tracy's asking about a disorder called erythromelalgia, which is a burning. I seen it in the office. I remember guys, a few patients come in and their hands were all red or their feet red. And they get that burning. I used to look. This is what, I was a guy in the office. I go, why? Why do you have that? Here's what I found ordinarily, okay? They were low in B12, okay? The nerve vitamin. Their nitric oxide usually was low. They usually had low levels of vitamin D. They usually had leaky gut. I had to fix that. That's what I usually found, Tracy, with that. Okay. Stephanie, I've been taking cortisol control for about 2 years now. I take with 2 magnesium at night and follow a diet of low carb, high protein, and good fats. Good for you. I'm still not sleeping well. Well, feel sorry for you. Up 2 to 3, after 2 or 3 hours, gain weight and believe I have lipidemia. Do you recommend increasing cortisol control? Well, you could try it and see. A lot of times when you're waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning, it's your cortisol. It's waking you up way too early. Cortisol, at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever, 7 o'clock in the morning, obviously it's going to be higher. It's part of your body's circadian rhythm to wake you up. But when it's doing it 2 or 3 in the morning, yeah, you want to calm that down. And, make sure you're taking some cortisol you're taking magnesium at night, but I would take a couple of capsules of cortisol control before going to bed too. Okay. Carolyn. Okay, this has to do with coffee and water. Okay. Okay, I thought I answered this, but maybe I didn't. You always stress the importance of drinking 16 ounces of water prior to drinking our morning coffee, but have never explained. Carolyn, I disagree that I've never. You use the word never. I use the word maybe I haven't recently. Okay? Explain the reason why that's so important. Because when you sleep, Carolyn, you have no idea that you are dehydrating. Look, when you're sleeping, Carolyn, your body is detoxing. You do your liver detoxes mostly at night. Your brain through the lymphatic system detoxes at night when you're sleeping. Well, that takes water. Your body's working even though it's in airplane mode. Okay? Not receiving a lot of data. It's actually cleaning it. The self-cleaning oven. Okay? So that's good. It's wonderful. But you lose at least that amount of water, 16 ounces of water. That's the sweet spot, by the way. Okay? Before you have coffee. So that's 2 glasses of water, generally. If you want to measure it, I found over the years 16 ounces or a half a liter of water is the key. How does that come to me? 50 years. Well, I've been saying that for 40 years or more. It's the sweet spot. Am I right about that? Yep, I'm right about it. I've proven it to tens of thousands of patients. They used to come in the office. I said, you're dry as a prune. What? You're dehydrated. What? I drink coffee. Well, good for you. You need to drink more water, and only water is water. Coffee's fantastic. It's the real vitamin C, but it's not water. Water is water. Well, doc, my tea is 95% water, 98% water. Yeah, but it's not water. Water is different. Water is a vitamin. You can't live without it. And only water is water. And you can put some salt in water. You can put a little bit of lemon in water. But I don't want you to mess up your water. You need to drink water. And it's a habit. Get used to it. That's why, Carolyn. Okay, I thought I did explain it. And perhaps you never heard it before. But I'm glad you asked, because repetition and asking questions, I like that. Pick my brain. Okay. And I think I did answer Brenda's question last week about, different brands of coffee. And coffee does not deplete your vitamin. It gives you vitamin C, the real one. 1,000 phytonutrients in coffee. 1,000. Okay. Grace, what causes lichen sclerosis? Well, that ain't no fun. It's an autoimmune disorder characterized by white patchy spots. You got to work. Anytime I see something like this, Grace, I work inside out. I've never seen lichen sclerosis ever without that person having a yeast infection, a fungal infection. They had leaky gut, and it got into their bloodstream. It got onto their skin, and they had leaky gut. Got to fix inside out. I always started with probiotics. Started with the diet. Lay off the sugars. Don't feed the bears. Don't feed the bears. Okay? Don't give them sugar. The Trojan horse has entered a person's life when they have lichen sclerosis. The Trojan horse. That's what I call yeast. It comes in and it sets up shop and it can get into your bloodstream and go everywhere. Thank you very much, Grace. Monique, concerned about smoked meat. Well, Monique, listen, okay? The reason I'm wringing my hands is because I like questions like this. Because every week, we get questions about this, okay? Meat. Yeah, but Dr. Martin, what about smoked meat? Dr. Martin, what about nitrates? What about them? What about smoked meat? All I can tell you is this, okay? If you look at the big problems of the world in terms of health, the biggest problem is metabolic syndrome. Okay, Monique? Metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is caused by insulin resistance. It affects your heart. It affects cancer. It affects diabetes. It affects Alzheimer's. It affects autoimmune. That's the major cause of all the health problems that we have in our society today. It's not viruses. It's not bacteria. It's food, metabolic syndrome. So you have to understand, Monique, where I come from. I look at the overarching problem, and I'm really focused in on that one. I'm not that I say the other things are not important. I'm just telling you that the elephant in the room is insulin. It's insulin resistance. Too much carbohydrates. Too many crappy carbs. Okay? So you got that. So you asked me about smoked meat. Well, I like steak better. But I like smoked meat too. Because you know why? Smoked meat won't elevate your insulin. Not even a bit. Not even a little bit. So it's actually, smoked meat will be part of your solution. Not part of the problem. The same with deli meat when they talk about nitrates. Okay? Dr. Martin, I don't like bacon. It's got nitrates in it. Well, look, nitrates is celery powder. You don't like celery? You know? Who cares? And when it comes to insulin, deli meats are perfectly acceptable. Are there better things than deli meat? Yep. A steak. Roast beef. Better, but Okay? And again, you know how I work at the Martin Clinic. Good, better, best. That's how I operate. And so when someone asks me about smoked meat, okay, I tell people, if you're on the Titanic, don't worry about the deck chairs. We'll talk about the furniture after. After you get on the right road and get off the broad road that leads to destruction. Okay? That's the big picture. It's the way I look at things. It's the reason I talk the way I talk. Because I'm looking at that elephant in the room. When we were going through the virus, what did I tell you? People who got sick and really were hospitalized, all of them, almost without exception, had metabolic syndrome. They had the pre-existing condition and nobody was talking about food, but I was. Because those are the people that got sick. They already had pre-existing conditions. And the key was metabolic syndrome. 93% of the population. Now, Monique, if you're off the Titanic and you're eating real good and you're not a carbaholic, well, you're once a carbaholic, always a carbaholic, right? But that doesn't mean you're eating them. It just means, me and carbs don't get along. But you're down the road and you're on the straight and narrow and you're eating good, you're vitamin E, you're drinking coffee, you're doing the things I tell you to do. Well, then, you can look at smoked meat and go, you know what? Maybe there's something better for me. Okay? I respect that. But you have to understand, for me, I have to speak in generalities. Because there's a lot of new people. Every day we get new people. Every day we get new people on this program. I need to talk to them about, because they haven't got the big picture yet. But I go back to that foundation all the time. Concerned about smoked meat? No, I'm not. It's good for you. Okay? So are deli meats. They're good for you. And some people call them crap. Nah, chocolate bar, that's crap. Orange juice, that's crap. Okay? Why? Insulin. I know, one-track mind. Okay, I think I answered everybody. Steve was asking about urea. I might have answered that the other day. Can't remember. Well, urea is uric acid. And the biggest thing in uric acid is fructose. And that's why, again, why is there so much elevation in uric acid? Why is it there's so much more gout than there used to be? Here's the answer. High fructose corn syrup. Since the 80s, gout is up 300%. Why? High fructose corn syrup. That's the worst. And when people drink sodas and they drink juices, and that ain't good for urea. Okay? That ain't good. Thanks, Steve. Okay, guys, I think I hit all those questions. Okay. Let me take a breath now. Okay, guys, we love you dearly. Thank you so much, folks, for all the support. We appreciate you guys more than you know. We love you dearly. You're so good to the Martin Clinic. We appreciate it. Okay, we love you. And tell your friends about the Doctor Is In podcast. Plain talk. Plain. I don't get too complicated because I'm a simple man. Okay? I like to break things down to make it simple for me so that I can share that with you. Okay? That's me. I love it. I enjoy this. And I enjoy all the feedback that we get. Okay? We mean that. Okay? Give us a little loving, guys. give us a 5-star review on your smart device, the Doctors In podcast. Okay, guys, we love you.